All right, welcome to 6.1. Unit 6, we're going to be solving equations, and in 6.1, we're going to start with basic one-step equations that always need either adding or subtracting. Right, so you can solve these equations just by filling in the blank from elementary school, right? Blank plus 3 equals 7, 4 plus 3 equals 7. 19 equals blank plus 10, well, it must be 9 plus 10. Now, the adding ones are easier than the subtracting ones. Blank minus 8 equals 1. Well, it's got to be 1 more than 8. 9 minus 8. Now, pause the video. Make sure you can do the last one. All right, this is 16. All right, not 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2 or some other answer. It's 16 minus 6 equals 10. Now, we could do the same thing for number 5. We could say that blank x is like blank. So this is blank plus 7 equals 12, right? Instead of filling in the blank, we write x equals 5 rather than filling in the blank with a 5. Same thing here. Instead of saying blank minus 1 equals 14, we're going to say x equals 15, right? 15 minus 1 equals 14. You're filling in the blanks. This is called solving an equation. Okay, so we're going to be solving equations much more difficult than that, right? We're going to have bigger numbers, we're going to have decimals, not so many fractions, but we have to have a technique that works for not just easy ones, also works on harder ones. All right, so addition and subtraction are called inverse operations. Let's see what that means. Let's do 13 plus 5 minus 5. Well, if you do 13 plus 5, that's 18. 18 minus 5. Whoa, wait, you get right back to 13. Yeah, the reason you get right back to 13 is those are called inverse operations. Adding 5 and subtracting 5 just undo each other. They get back to where you started, which was 13 in this case. So what's 17 minus 2 plus 2? Well, you could do the work, but hopefully you figured out it must be 17 because subtracting 2 and adding 2 are inverse operations. They undo each other. So that leads us to this one. X plus 4 minus 4 must equal, well, it must equal x. And in fact, we'll be crossing things like that out when we solve equations. So your teachers have been telling you for a few years now that when you solve an equation, you must do everything to both sides. There's a name for that. It's called the properties of equality. Now, there are 4 properties of equality. There's adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. I'm not going to make you write it 4 times, but please understand, you do something to one side, you must do it to the other. And what we're going to do is show you why that is so on the screen. So it says, are the equations true? Hopefully you agree, yes, 4 plus 7 equals 11. All right, so now in this next one, what have I done? I've subtracted 7 from both sides of the equal sign. Well, we just learned that 4 plus 7 minus 7, these are inverse operations. They cross out and make 4. 11 minus 7 equals 4. So is this equation true? Yes, it's still true. 4 equals 4. On the last screen, last one, it was 11 equals 11, right? I guess I should write that, but it's still true. Now let's do this once more. This time, I only subtracted 7 from one side. Well, on this side you get 11. On this side you get 11 minus 7. And which is 4, and so this is no longer true. Students want to write as little work as possible. And so they think, well, I get the right answer if I subtract on one side. First of all, that's not going to be true anymore this year. And if you subtract from one side instead of 2 sides, you're going to get wrong answers because you're going to be doing more difficult problems. But also you're violating this property of math, which says that you must do everything to both sides. It's called the properties of equality. So, some of these we could do in our head, but we're not allowed to do them in our head today because we're learning this procedure, okay? So we're going to do inverse operations to both sides every time. So our goal here is to get x by itself. That right there, that's x by itself. And what we mean by that is x by itself on one side of the equal sign. So how are we going to make that happen? Well, we got to get rid of this plus 15. Well, how can we make 15 go away? Well, we can subtract 15, right? Because we just learned that x plus 15 minus 15 on the last screen must be x, right? Those cross out, and please, if you're in the habit of not crossing those out, please get in the habit this year, because we are doing much more complicated ones. We want to cross out what we've done already. So we're crossing that out because it makes 0. And guess what happens after that makes 0? We get x by itself. But if you do it to one side of the equal sign, you must do it to the other side of the equal sign. And you're not doing it to the 37. What? No, you're doing it to that side. You're doing it, just happens to be 30. In this easy one that we're doing, there's only 37 on that side. But you're doing it to both sides. And so x equals 22. You don't have to circle it, but that's what your work looks like in your homework today. All right, so x is going to move around. So how do we get x by itself? Now, please, just leave x on the side that it's on. Don't be switching things around. We're not doing that this year. We have to get rid of this plus 8. So when it was plus 15, we subtracted 15 from both sides. Now it's plus 8. We subtract 8 from both sides of the equal sign. On that side happens to be 17. 17 minus 8 is 9, and we're going to leave it. 9 equals x. There's a property of math that says, it's called the symmetric property. You don't have to know that, but x equals 9 and 9 equals x are the same thing. One side of an equation is not better than the other. Okay, so when it was add, we subtracted. So what do we do when it's subtract in the problem? Well, we add, right? Because minus 9 plus 9 will equal 0. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0. That creates x by itself. Notice the first time you're doing it, you're not getting the answer. You're getting x by itself. That's our goal. Then you do it to the other side of the equal sign. 43 plus 9 equals 52. One more time. Again, if it's subtraction, you're adding to both sides. 8 plus 8 is 16, and 56 equals x. Right? And this is, you're going to find out this is actually faster than trying to do it in your head. Blank minus 18 equals 56. Right? It's much easier and faster to add 18 to both sides than figure out that 56 must go in that blank. So please realize, although it might be more writing, you will get so good at this that it will be faster than doing it in your head. The answer is the one and only value that makes the equation true, right? It's the one and only number that will fill in the blank, and that's called the solution. So if the instructions say find the solution or solve, that is the same thing, asked two different ways, right? You're finding the answer. So we're subtracting 3. Now hopefully we realize that 3 goes under the 7, right? Because we are lining up our decimal points for adding and subtracting, and the answer here, the solution, is 4.9. Here, we're also going to have negatives in there. We could figure out blank minus 5 equals negative 18, but it's going to be faster just to add 5 to both sides. Well, what's negative 18 plus 5? It is negative 13, right? You owe $18, you have 5, you pay them back, you still owe them 13. Here you're going to check to see if x equals negative 16 is the solution. Now you could do this two ways. You could subtract 18 from both sides and see if the answer is, but what I'm really asking here is negative 16, that's not really what I want here, negative 16 plus 18, is that equal to negative 2? No, it's equal to positive 2. So no, this is not the solution. There is only one number that makes it true, and negative 16 was not it. Okay. It was negative 20. Negative 2 minus 18, same as negative 2 plus negative 18. All right, perimeter. So when you find the perimeter of any object, what do? You add up all the sides. So we're going to do this by writing an equation. We got a side that we don't know, x. We got two sides that are 8, and we know that adds up to 24.5, right? In elementary school, you were asked, and in 6th and 7th grade, you were asked to find perimeters, but now you're going to work backwards, all right? You're going to find this missing side, and that's really what we use equations for a lot of the time. It's a problem that you've done before, but now you're asked to do it backwards. Well, 8 plus 8 is 16, so now if you understand that little part, then you realize that now we have an equation, oops, that's a 5, an equation just like all the others. We have a one-step equation, it's called. We're subtracting 16 from both sides. We're lining up our decimal points. We got a 0.5. We're doing a little borrowing here. We got 8.5, and this is a word problem, so this is in 8.5 inches. All right, that side was a little longer than the other two. All right, practice. You have to be great at this. So you add 68 to both sides, and x equals 227 minus 68 equals 159. Subtract 6 from both sides, lining up our decimal points. And we get 0.7, and we borrow, and we get another 7, and we get 37.7 equals x, 37 and 7/10. All right, so it's subtract, so now we add, right? We're always trying to get x by itself. That's our goal, right? That's x by itself, that's x by itself, that's x by itself. Negative 25 plus 3, negative 22. Subtract 2 from both sides. X, negative 17 minus 2, same as negative 17 plus negative 2, negative 19. Perimeter, so we don't know that side. We know 2 are 5 and 12. Oops, that's a plus. We're adding up the 3 sides, and the perimeter, it says, is 30. Well, that's x plus 17 equals 30. Subtract 17 from both sides, and x equals 13 centimeters. Add 136 to both sides, lining up our decimal points. That's why I put this one here. 0.1, 14, 5, 154.1. Good luck on the homework.